All right, we should be broadcasting. Iram, can you confirm you can hear me and see me? Just drop me a note in the chat. Let me know if you can. And if they do make it, you will be able to see their questions there as well. Okay, cool. Looks like people are lining up now. Very good. Everyone can see and hear us. That's fantastic. We've got about a minute until we get officially started here. Hey, if you just got here, go over to the chat. Make sure you know where that is. I want to keep this very interactive. And go over there and say hello. I want to make sure that we are recording. Yes, we are recording. You should be able to see me. Iram can see everyone as well. Awesome. David says, I can see and hear you. Perfect. So hello to Terry, Mike, Mark, James, David. Folks, go over to the chat and say hello. Let me know if you can see me. You should be able to see as well as hear, and also see the screen here, the title slide for today's material. Awesome. Terry says, I can see and hear you. Perfect. And Iram, can you confirm that you can see what Terry is sending you as well? Sending us. Last time we did this last group, we had a couple of issues we wanted to fix up with the chat to keep our ability to communicate clear, but also give you kind of some privacy in your responses throughout some of the training. So we're doing it a little bit differently today, and we're just making sure that everything's dialed in. Cool. Awesome. Let's see. Jess, are you here? Let's get Jess in here. Jess is on the Mindfire side. Cool. We got a few more people coming in. So folks, I'm going to wait another minute or two. I know this is the first class. I'm sure everyone's busy, so I'm going to give everyone just a few more moments to get in here. I see Mr. Greg Fox, my friend, coming in here. Hello, Greg. Kevin is here. Fantastic. I see a lot of names I recognize and some new ones as well. Always good to meet new people. Fantastic. So when you, if you can hear me right now, and if you just jumped in, you haven't missed anything yet, we're going to start in about a minute or two just to give everyone time to get in here. But I want to know a little bit more about you. Some of you I know, some of you I don't. So if you could go over to the chat, make sure you know where that is, load that up, and then just drop in the industry that your company is in and what your company does. Just a short description, what industry you're in, and a nutshell of what your company does. We're also waiting for one more Mindfire team member here. Oh, Jessica thinks she's in as somebody else right now. Jessica, you're in as Greg. I don't know what you're doing, my friend. Cool. So Wayne just came in. Hey, Wayne, it's good to see you. Another Mike, I think, just came in. David is here. Hello, folks. It's good to see you. Haven't missed anything yet. What I want you to do right now, if you can hear me and you can see me, is go over to the chat, and I want to know what your company does and what industry you're in. So please go over to the chat. I want to see some of those messages coming in. We need to make sure our lines of communication are nice and open here. So we've got Mike saying printing and marketing services. Wonderful, fantastic. There's going to be a few others like you, Mike, in this group. Terry is saying print, mail, and marketing services. Okay, very good. From those of you who I haven't heard from yet, Wayne, go over there and let us know. Michael, Mark, Kevin. Hey, John, it's good to see you. Joanna is here now. Jeffrey's here. Hi, James. Jess, I don't know if you're here as somebody else or if you're here already, but would love to hear from you as well, just to make sure you're here. Joanna is saying promotional products and gifts. Okay, very cool, Joanna. There are others like you in the private members group, which I don't know if I think you're a part of, but if you're not, you're going to get access to that today. Hey, John, it's good to see you. Awesome. Cool, it's good to see everybody. Joanna says, yes, she's a part of it. Hey, Michael, it's good to see you. Jeffrey is saying print, marketing, and promotional materials. Okay, a lot of you in that space there. Cool, cool, cool. All right, well, I don't know if that was Jess that just came in. Jess, if you don't mind just putting a little note there in the chat. We were all waiting for you. And now I guess we can begin because Jessica's here. Jessica is one of the fantastic team members here at Mindfire, along with Iram, who I will introduce in a second. There she is. Awesome. Kevin is saying, I'm trying to finish a quick couple of emails. Kevin, no problem. Do it and let us know when you're ready. S&P is an on-demand print manufacturer. Cool. Yeah, Kevin, it's good to see you here. I know it's been a little while, but glad you're here. Glad you can make it. Finish up those emails, folks. Let's give our friends one more minute, and then we will jump right in. So, Jess, if you can forgive me for asking, but if you can multitask and just try to get the last few folks in here, I think you said there's around 25 in this group. See if you can send them a text or whatever you need to do to get them in. We'll give Kevin a second to finish up emails. And if you haven't dropped a hello yet in the chat, make sure you know where that is. These sessions are very interactive, and we're trying to do here in 4 days what we normally space out over 5 weeks or sometimes more. The reason why we're doing that is we're hearing from a lot of you that, look, it's tough right now. I need to get my marketing going. I need to revitalize my sales. I need to recover revenue as rapidly as I can. And so while it's difficult, it may be difficult for you on your side to get together 4 days in a row. Just the feedback that we heard was overwhelmingly, hey, we need to get this going now. So we're trying to do our best to serve you at the highest possible level, get this rolling as quickly as possible to help as many of you as we can to get into the flow here. So Kevin's saying, likewise, great to get back into these forums with you. I'm done with the emails. Okay, cool. So if Kevin is ready, then I am ready. Jess is ready. And IRM is ready. So fantastic. Thank you, folks, for joining. We're going to officially get started here. If you jump in or have jumped in the past few seconds, don't worry, you haven't missed anything yet. I want to make sure you're all in the right spot. And so we're going to talk for a few moments, just do a little bit of housekeeping around kind of what this course is designed to do, who it's for, and how we're going to help you do it. And then we're going to get right into it. Like I said, we have a lot to cover over the next 4 days, and we're doing this at an accelerated pace to help you get where you want to be more quickly. So are you in the right spot? Let's address that first. First of all, this training is for you if you oversee marketing or you oversee sales, and you're responsible for setting goals and strategies to achieve those objectives, okay? This is for you if that fits your description. If you're in marketing or sales and you're responsible for carrying out those strategies and executing tactically, implementing tactics, this is for you. If you have a message, if you have a product, if you have a service, if you sell something or you have something you want to deliver to a group of people and you want to get it into their hands more easily, more quickly, and a larger scale, this is for you. And if you have found that what you've tried in the past, it just doesn't work anymore. I hear from a lot of you that, look, especially with where we are right now, at least here in the United States, it's hard to reach people at work. They've been furloughed, they've been let go, they're working from home. I can't get people to return my emails, my phone calls. It's a lot harder for a lot of us, right? So if you're open to learning the new things that are working right now and you're willing to put in the work to get there, this is for you. And this should go without saying, but this is only for Mindfire members. So if you're not a Mindfire family member, I don't know how you got in here, but this is specifically for those of us who are in the Mindfire family. So if this sounds like you, you're in the right spot. What should you expect as you go through this training with us? I want to set expectations so that you know what we're going to deliver to you, all right? So in each of these 4 days, we're going to cover some strategic insights, some strategic guidance to help you make some mental shifts in terms of how you think about your marketing and your sales with respect to what we call Opti-Channel, okay? So that's going to kind of be one of the foundational things that we talk about each day. And then once that has been articulated, we're going to peel that back and get into some very tactical training and exercises, things where you got to roll up your sleeves and actually do some work. And you'll watch me as I do a lot of that. You're kind of going to be looking over my shoulder as I do that so that you can put some of these things into place, whether it be within your Mindfire software or on LinkedIn. I'm going to be training you on that as well. These are things that you're going to be able to put into practice right away. And the way we teach this are through frameworks. They're usually pictures. I'll show you, you're going to see one today. And the reason why we create these pictures to show you these frameworks is because we find it helps people with their recollection and their recognition of these patterns, these plays to put into place within their organizations when they have a picture to refer to. So you're going to see a couple of frameworks as we go through it. And I'm going to illustrate some of this using the Mindfire software. We're going to do that tomorrow. You're going to see LinkedIn because that's one of the Opti-Channel mechanisms right now that we really want all of you taking advantage of. So we're going to be going live into LinkedIn. One of the days, I think it's Thursday's course, we're actually going to have you, if you can, have 2 devices up. One where you can see me, see us, and the other where you're in LinkedIn. So we'll get you prepared for that, but that's going to be one of the days. And so If you kind of want to understand what the model looks like, we're going to start always with mindset. Then we're going to go into a strategy and framework for understanding how to put that mindset into play. And then we're going to go into tactics. Okay, that's kind of how these classes are set up. So my goal for you, and I know not all of you are coming in from the same place right now, so I'm going to try to talk broadly at first and then make this specific to the different groups of people that are here. My goal for you, some of you just came into the Mindfire family. Some of you just acquired the Mindfire software, okay? And so if you think about what we're trying to do here from a roadmap perspective, the first thing that we want to do is we want to get your hands into that software. If you don't have access, you should, but please let my team know in the chat if you don't have access. And we want to get you to launch your first campaign. We want to help you launch your first campaign. That's kind of step one. Most of you, I think, are somewhere in that spot right there. And now you're moving into step two, which is this right here, where you're getting this additional training. And what this is going to do is help you put into practice these omni-channel techniques, which are new to many of you, to help you launch more campaigns that are going to reach more people. Okay, so this is where a lot of you find yourself moving into right now. And then there's a group of you here. This doesn't apply to everybody. Some of you are already thinking about this. Some of you, this may be new for. Some of you might be looking at, in step three, thinking about, okay, now that I know how to do this stuff, now that I know how to use omni-channel marketing for my own organization, for myself, why don't I sell this to clients? So this could be if you're a printer, commercial printer, agency, marketing services company, you may want to take these and take these ideas and then use them to sell services to your customer. And if that's you, we also have some quick start campaign templates that allow you to enable what we call curbside ordering. If you have customers that are in the restaurant space, as an example, here in California, in Texas, and Florida, currently here in California, at least, we're rolling back into elements of phase one in terms of where we stand with the coronavirus. And so retail, restaurants, food places like that are having trouble keeping their doors open. And so this is a way that you can enable them to sell their services, sell their food online, something that's web accessible over the phone and through the web, to help them generate more revenue. And so for those of you who have customers in that space, you have in your hands the ability to help those customers with an electronic ordering solution that has with it all of these omni-channel marketing mechanisms to drive more people to purchase food in that case. Okay, so some of you, if you're interested in that, if you have customers in that area, if that piques some interest for you, go to the chat and tell my team, just drop the word curbside ordering there, and then we'll follow up with you and get you some more information on that, okay? So drop the words curbside ordering, and we'll make sure to help you take the next steps in that area. In addition, there's a lot of buzz right now around virtual events because trade shows and things like that can't happen. Face-to-face communication is made more difficult these days. So if you have clients that need to run virtual events, we also have a quick start that we can train you on, a process we can train you on to help you build virtual events for your clients and, of course, charge them for that so that you can generate revenue using these omni-channel mechanisms to be able to run virtual events for your clients. So again, another possible revenue stream for you. So if you have interest in that, drop virtual events. And I'm spending a little bit more time here than I would usually because we have a lot of you coming in from different places, and I want to make sure I give you all an ample opportunity to kind of understand the full opportunity that you have here through this training here with Mindfire. So let me just take a quick look. Jeffrey is saying curbside ordering and virtual events. John's saying curbside ordering. Terry says virtual events. Mike says virtual events. Kevin is saying starving artist, musician out of performance mode. Virtual events. Okay, great, folks. So if you have any questions about any of those, or even if you just want to talk a little bit more and see if they're a fit for you, drop that into the chat. I have Iram and Jess, who I'm going to introduce here in a second to you, that are going to help you answer any questions that you have in that regard. All right, so take another moment, think if that's you. If it is, drop that in, and we'll get you helped in that area. So over the next 4 days, we're going to start with today what we call the Blue Ocean Framework. And this kind of sets the foundation for what we're covering today, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. All right, so that's where we're going to start. Day 2, which is tomorrow, we're going to talk about how to find and create engaging content that's going to help you drive awareness, create more leads, and ultimately lead to sales, and help you do it in such a way where people are coming to you, asking for your services, for your products. That's day 3. I'm sorry, day 2. In day 3, I'm going to teach you how to take that content and distribute it in a very specific set of ways that helps you generate more leads. And we're going to be talking about using LinkedIn. That's one of the Opti channels right now that is quite lucrative for those of us who know how to use it properly. So we're going to be spending time looking at how Mindfire software helps you leverage LinkedIn and how you can take advantage of this incredible opportunity that's on LinkedIn right now. And then in day 4, we're going to talk about how to really optimize what you're doing on LinkedIn by manufacturing or creating a profile on LinkedIn that helps you draw in the types of people you want to be working with. And then accordingly, we're going to build on that framework to understand how to be engaging on LinkedIn in ways that's going to be building your network, meaning connecting you with more people who need your services, getting them to come to you to ask for connections, and ultimately to ask for more jobs and quotes and requests for bids and things like that. Okay, so that's what we're going to try to do over the next 4 days. Now, throughout all this material, we want to stay connected with you. So we've done a few things to keep this community tight, okay? So the first thing is, and IRAM will send this in an email following this event. IRAM, if you want, you can take this now and put this in the chat as well for everybody. We have a private LinkedIn group. Some of you may already be members of that. IRAM's going to put the link in the chat there for you. And you can request access. This is not a listed Mindfire group. This is private, meaning you can't see it unless you know how to get there. And we want you to be a part of that. In that group, there are others like you. There are others who are ahead of you in terms of their progression with Mindfire and Opti channel. And then there are folks who are going to be a little bit behind you as well. And so what we do in this community is we share best practices, we share insights, people share case studies, they share successes they've had, they share challenges, and our job is to really help that community thrive. And so we'd love for you to be a part of that. If you're on LinkedIn, you just click that link there and it'll say, hey, request access, and then one of our incredible team will give you access to that within, usually pretty quick, but at most 24 hours. So thank you, IRAM, for putting that in the chat, folks. You'll also get that in the follow-up material. Now, the other thing we do for you is we have a Google Classroom set up. And again, you're going to get the email with all this information in it. You're going to go to this URL here, classroom.google.com, and you're going to click on the classes page. And again, we'll include these instructions for you. And you're going to enter a code that's going to give you access to all of this class, all of your materials. Okay, so it'll be like the video for today, the PowerPoint for today, and any of the ancillary information and guides that we provide you. I've got a couple examples sitting here on my desk. All of those PDFs are going to be centralized in there by day for you. Okay, so IRAM will follow up with that. He may put it in the chat right now, and then you'll get an email with that as well. Does that make sense? Let me know if you have any questions, folks. Cool, thank you, IRAM. Perfect, IRAM's giving you all the details there. So I'm going to introduce myself here, tell you a little bit about who we are briefly, just in case that we haven't met before, and then we're going to jump right in. So I think everybody knows Mindfire since you're here and your clients or family members. In case we haven't met, I'm Dave Rosendahl. I am one of the co-founders here at Mindfire, act as president right now. And the material that I'm teaching you today, we have perfected and used over many years with thousands of printers, both 2D and 3D. 3D is a big kind of emerging market within our customer base right now. We work with a lot of agencies. We work with a lot of B2C and B2B brands, helping them drive leads by creating more awareness for their organizations, very much like what I'm teaching you today, so that ultimately they can grow sales. We do that in 2 ways. We have software. Some of you have access to our software. If you don't, our team will help you get your username and password to make sure you're logged in. And because there's a growing need for done for you and done with you services, meaning some folks go through this training and say, I get it now, I understand, but I just don't have the time to do this. I don't have the resources to run these campaigns, whether they be for your own organization or if you're one of those who's going to be selling this to your customers. And so we created an agency within Mindfire. That's kind of the second thing we do. We have a set of services where we basically do all of the work for our clients in the situations where they need us. So we have software and we have services, And we offer these to kind of two sets of customers. Many of you are in this first set, what we call service providers. So we have a big family, a big network of print service providers, agencies, digital marketing companies, folks like you, many of you who are here in the room today that are not only using this technology and OptiChannel to reach more of your customers, but also to service customers of your own by selling these solutions to them, okay? So a big part of our customer base are service providers, and then we work with many, many brands around the world, like the ones you see here on the screen, okay? So that's who Mindfire is. That's kind of the vantage point that I come to you today from, and I just wanted to make sure, in case we haven't met, that you know who we are and why we're here together today. Now, as we get into today's material, I'm going to kind of follow a process that we're going to be using for the next 3 days. Very similar process, all right? I'm going to, starting tomorrow, I'm going to give you a quick review at each beginning point of what we learned the prior day. If you missed any of the material as you go through this, if anything comes up, something happens, IRM and the team are going to be sending you out the recording. And because we're moving through this at a accelerated pace to help get you there more quickly, please try to watch the previous day's recording if you miss it so you can get caught up. I will do a flyover of the material, but I'm certainly not going to go into all the depth that I would have if you watch the video. Okay, so make sure to watch the video. Then what we do every day is we unpack one focus area, okay? The way I teach is I stay focused on one thing. I don't go down rabbit trails. I entertain a bunch of questions, of course, but I stay very focused, and you're going to learn about one thing and unpack that. And as we unpack that, what I want to do is I want to give you opportunities to ask questions, much like you're doing right now. I can see folks here in the chat, okay? And as we go through it, what I'm going to be doing is I am going to be saying, hey, Lisa said this, Joanna said this, TJ said this, Scott said this. I don't want to break confidence in giving your answer or listing your question. So if you don't want your first name used, please tell me. Say something like, don't use my name, okay? Just so I know. But otherwise, I will reference you by first name just to keep a little bit of the anonymous factor there. And I will be reading your questions and answering as we go through the material. I just want to be very sensitive to how you feel about your unique situation, okay? Often, we do stay past the hour. I know if you have to leave right at the end of the hour, this class will be over usually within 60 minutes, but I will stick around. I want to over-deliver value to you, so I'll stick around to answer questions. Like I said, Jessica and IRM are also here, and they're going to follow up after each session to get you the recording, answer questions, and solicit feedback from you. Where could we improve? What could we have done better? What stood out to you? Things like that that help us get better each day in delivering this material. Because each class, each cohort has its own unique flavor, and I want to make sure I'm speaking directly to all of you. So let me introduce Jessica and IRM, and then we're going to get started here. Jessica here on the left. Jessica, go say hello to everybody there in the chat. She is a client success specialist here at Mindfire. Many of you have probably worked with her. In fact, many of you are probably here today because of her tenacity and passion and dedication to you. She reached out to many of you and said, hey, this would be a good class for you. And I appreciate her doing that. And I'm glad that you were able to follow up with her and make it today. So that's Jessica. Say hello to Jessica. Fantastic resource here at Mindfire. And then here on the right is IRM. He's been with Mindfire for a number of years now, very committed to working with our customers. Customers rave about his ability to help them solve some tough challenges. He is our support lead and is part of this course because coming through this, he's helping many of you in your onboarding process, meaning he's helping you get to that first campaign, get that campaign launched, and then doing the handoff to the support organization that we have here in Mindfire. So say hello to IRAM, another great person to know and to get involved with. So IRAM and Jess, thank you for being here. I know the community appreciates you. And folks, I think you'll come to enjoy working with them as well. All right. If you're ready to get started, drop a yes in the chat. Go drop a yes. Give me a yes if you're ready to get started. Everyone ready to go? Hey, Larry, it's good to see you, Larry. Joanna's ready, Mark's ready, John's ready, James is ready, Larry is ready. Cool. So here's what I want to do right now. I want you to think for a moment here, and I want you to drop this into the chat, okay? Think for a moment. Here's the question. What would you say your number one challenge is right now with respect to leads and sales? And again, I'm going to read this out. I'm just going to use your first name unless you tell me not to, okay? But take a moment as we sit here, as we stand here at the starting line of today's session and of this 4-day intensive here, what would you say your number one challenge is? I'm going to give you a few seconds to think about that. And then I want to see those coming through the chat here. So what's your number one challenge as you sit here right now? And what is that as you think about your leads and your sales? Okay. So let's see. Larry is saying a lack of technical understanding. Okay, Larry, specifically where? Technical understanding of what? How OptiChannel works? How things like LinkedIn operate? Is that what you mean? Tell us more. Mike is saying consistent leads. Yep, we hear that often. Scott is saying finding quality leads that have marketing dollars to spend. Okay, so folks that have the ability, not only the desire, but the ability to spend money with you. Okay. David is saying finding who to target. Okay. David, do you know who those people are? You just don't know where to find them? Is that what it is? Or you're still trying to figure out who to even begin targeting? James is saying finding new customers. Terry is saying connecting with current clients and new prospects. Terry, what's hard about connecting with current clients and prospects right now? What is it that's challenging? Kevin is saying the ability to onboard or add new workflows due to challenges with new clients running below their effectiveness. Yeah, understand that. Wayne is saying finding new leads. John is saying how to communicate with customers in COVID days is challenging. John, specifically where? In what way is it challenging? Larry is saying I need help setting up a LinkedIn profile and where to begin in DaVinci. Yes, Larry, understood. You're going to learn that. Kevin is saying communications is tough. Yep. Joanna is saying also folks that have budgets to spend, I think you mean, on quality products. Yep. Terry is saying many are not working in the office. We also need help with LinkedIn. Yeah. That's one of the reasons why this class is here for you, Terry and the others. Reaching people in the office is extremely difficult right now for some. LinkedIn provides a remarkable way around that. And when used in tandem with what you're learning here through DaVinci, Mindfire software, you'll be able to circumvent a lot of that if you put the time into doing what we teach you here in the class. So John is saying customer engagement has changed, less of direct meetings. So probably meaning there's less face-to-face meetings, right? Michael saying, I've noticed that a lot of our clients are being tighter with their budget because of the uncertainty that has come with COVID. Yep. David is saying, trying to figure out who's a good fit for us to spend effort on. Kevin is saying decision makers have kind of gone AWOL the past 30 to 45 days. Yep, Kevin, I hear that. Larry is asking, does DaVinci allow for payment processing? Yes, Larry. Mark is saying, how do we get to the industry segments we want to approach without knowing individual clients are? Okay, all very good, folks. I appreciate you dropping that in because that gives me kind of the zeitgeist of where we are as a group here. And as I take different groups through this material, I form a different special bond with each group because you're all a little bit different. You all come in at slightly different times, slightly different challenges. So this is very helpful to us as we know kind of where you stand and what you need. Thank you for that. So let me set the mental space. Yes, Larry, you can reach a worldwide audience with DaVinci. Yes, you can. Absolutely. Let me set the mental space as you walk into this training, okay? What you kind of where you need to be here in the 6 inches between both ears, okay? In this training, as we go through this, not only are you going to learn how to create more leads and sales with OptiChannel, but you're also going to learn how to become a leader. And I know that for some of you, you might think, what? Leadership? I didn't know this was a leadership course. And kinda, it is. But what I really mean is that you will learn how to become a leader in your organization so that you become a leader in your marketplace. Many of you here are business owners, right? Some of you are senior executives. Some of you are the trusted right hands of your bosses, and you're here because they need you to step up and lead and deliver results for their company. So in that sense, yes, you're all leaders. But in another sense, what I'm trying to communicate to you here is that you need help getting your organization, whether you own it, whether you work for it, you want to help your organization, or your boss wants you to help your organization take a leadership role in the market. We argue that the only way that you're going to survive or even think about thriving is if you learn to become a leader in your market, to lead a particular area, to own a particular area in your market. So what you're going to learn in this course will help you draw out that leadership position. Now, To the owners and entrepreneurs here in the room, if you're an owner, an entrepreneur, drop a yes. I want to know where my people are at. Go over there and drop a yes if you're an owner and entrepreneur, okay? One of the things that drives me, men and women, as you drop those in, I can see them coming in through the corner of my eye here. It's my life's mission to help folks like you and to help your organizations, okay? And I came across this quote, which really resonated with me around what an entrepreneur is. And this is going to be applicable to you if you work for the entrepreneur, if you work for the business owner in your organization. An entrepreneur is someone who takes personal responsibility for a problem that isn't or wasn't their own. Think about that for a second. This is why your boss or your boss's boss, or maybe you, way back when you started this company, something got your attention. Maybe you've forgotten it at this point. I know that with running a business, whether you own the business, run the business, work for the business, payroll can be on the mind, cash flows on your mind, capital expenditures, COVID. Now we've got the bubonic plague. I mean, come on, right? Things are hitting us left and right. But if you can think back as to why you started this company, or what it is that is at the essence of your company, what is the problem? What is it that you're taking personal responsibility for fixing in your market? That's a very powerful thing. And what you're going to learn in this course, I'm going to ask you to draw on that spark. I'm going to ask you to tease that out, whether it be out of yourself or out of your organization. And it's a thing that's very powerful once you know how to do it. 99% of the people who come into this class, the owners, the entrepreneurs, have forgotten about that initial spark. Let me see how many entrepreneurs we have. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. It looks like we have 9 or 10. It's almost half of the class, okay? And it's because, there's all sorts of stuff that gets in the way. But the reason why I share this with you, let me be clear, is that what we find is that most people, again, whether you work for the organization or you own the organization, they put their products up for sale and they don't understand, or they don't remember, or they don't realize that it's that spark, it's that passion, it's that expertise that's the key to actually selling that product or service. I don't care if you're selling direct mail, promotional products, large format, wide format, whatever it is that you're selling, okay? The key is that your story, your message, your marketing is what gets people to convert. And when you can harness that through the authenticity of your organization's brand, or you as the entrepreneur, that can change someone's life. But it only will happen if you know how to actually get that message to get the product into their hands, right? It'll only happen if you learn how to use these new omni-channel techniques to actually communicate your message to the market that needs you. I came across this quote from Winston Churchill. To each there comes in their lifetime a special moment when they are figuratively tapped on the shoulder and offered the chance to do a very special thing, unique to them and fitted to their talents. What a tragedy if that moment finds them unprepared or unqualified for that which could have been their finest hour. So with everything that's going on around us, right? The reason why I give you this quote is because I want you to be ready. These are trying times. And this is a time where your company could actually do a lot of good for the world and for your market. But you have to know these new modern ways of engaging with customers and prospects, okay? And what I want to do is equip you so that when you're tapped on the shoulder, and many of you are being tapped right now, that you're ready, okay? And I know many of you are the type that are ready to go out there and take the world on by the shoulders, right? And just shake it and make it happen. But you have to have the right tools, and that's what I'm going to be teaching you today, okay? So the mindset, the very important mindset that I want you to have as you come into this, if you're taking notes, if you're writing this down, is to have that understanding that a lot of this is going to be drawing out that unique part of your organization, whether it's in you, in your organizational DNA, and communicating it out in such a way that it draws people to you, okay? And so with that mindset in mind, let's look at the framework to understand how this happens, okay? So if you're taking notes, if you got your notepad, or if you're doing it electronically, write down the Blue Ocean framework, okay? Now, this borrows from the work of Chan Kim and Renee Mauborgne. They wrote, it's been some time, a book called The Blue Ocean. And so let me tell you why we borrow that name and why we think it's important here. First of all, for probably all of us gathered here today, you're not selling what you think you're selling. we argue, okay? You're not selling print. You're not selling promotional products. You're not selling direct mail. You're not selling wide format. I could go on, right? What we argue is that you need to create a movement, a tribe, a way of being, a way of realizing results that is supported by your unique product and service. And by communicating that out into the market, you attract people to you. And it's that which you're selling. And I know this sounds fuzzy, woo-woo, crazy a little bit, right? But I don't believe you're selling print. I don't believe you're selling direct mail. I want you to see the world through a different lens. I want you to see your work through a different lens. And so what I'm saying is, while print may be sexy to you, software might be sexy to me, right? There's plenty of companies that do what, that have software products. There's plenty of companies that do print, right? So how do you distinguish yourself? How do you stand out? That's what this framework helps you do, okay? You have to stand out. You got to be different. And when you think about the red ocean, blue ocean word picture, here's where the thinking kind of comes together in this model here. The red ocean over here on the left, you see this over here? These are red because they're bloody from all the fighting, all of the competition, okay? The blue ocean over here on the right are these unexplored, untainted, deep, powerful parts of the market that are yet explored. They have a lot of growth in them. They have a lot of potential opportunity in them. I know that I have a lot of print and marketing, print and direct mail folks here. Print, I would say, is definitely a red ocean, but there are many of you, many customers, many clients, many partners, many friends in what would be perceived in a red ocean who have found a way to move themselves over into a blue ocean where they have much less competition and are selling in a way that's setting them apart from the rest. The way they're doing that is by moving themselves out of a red ocean and putting themselves intentionally in a blue ocean. So the question I'm sure you're thinking is, okay, sounds great, Dave. How do you do that? So in this training, I'm not here to prescribe a specific way for your specific business, okay? I'm happy to talk to you or give you insights into that. I want to give you a framework, though, for how you can think about coming to that conclusion on your own. You know it better than I do. And if you haven't thought about this, if this is something that's new for you, you might feel right now that I'm touching on something that maybe you've noticed but haven't been able to put words on, right? That this is maybe a problem that you've had in your organization, or maybe you see it, you work for the organization and you see it within your company. Gosh, this is a problem for us. We're competing and we're just like everybody else. We haven't positioned ourselves uniquely yet. So let me show you the framework for doing that. It has 3 pieces to it, okay? I learned this many years back from a guy named Russell Brunson, and this is kind of a model that pulls together 3 different pieces of what you need, the things that you need to do in order to create this unique space for yourself where you are the leader. Okay, the first thing is, I'm going to walk through each of these and then we're going to peel them apart. The first is you need an expert or a guide, a charismatic leader, somebody who is a person in your organization or an entity that can represent the organization. I'm going to tell you more about that in a second, but that's the first thing you need, is an expert or a guide who leads from the public's view your company. All right. The second thing you need is what we call a new opportunity. A new opportunity is something that you provide your audience. And I'm going to give you examples of people in print, in marketing, and in all sorts of industries that have done this. But it's a way of positioning what you do in a way that's new, different than what they've done before. And this is what's going to help draw people to you. And as you do that, you need to give your tribe, your prospects and your clients, what we call a future-based cause. I'm going to tell you what that means. But that, in a nutshell, means that you're uniting your prospective clients and your existing clients around seeing the potential that your product and your service can do for them in a way that pulls them together and makes them raving fans of what it is that you do, what it is that you offer. And so these are the 3 components that you need: an expert or a guide. You need to present what you're doing as a new opportunity, and you need a future-based cause. Let's peel each one of those back, all right? Let me show you what I mean by each of those. So I first learned about this expert or guide or charismatic leader when I attended Dreamforce. If you haven't been to Dreamforce, it's this big yearly event that Salesforce does every year. Actually, I think they're going to skip it this year because of all the craziness that's going on. But when I attended, I remember Mark Benioff, the CEO, right here, walking onto the stage, like loud rock music blaring. It was almost like a religious experience. It was so energetic and kind of like over the top. And I remember thinking, gosh, this is interesting. This is not what I would have expected at a software conference, you know. But Mark and his whole organization, they position him as this expert, as this guide, and people flock there. Tens of thousands of people flock there to see kind of what's coming up and what he's thinking and what he wants to do with the industry, right? So some of you might be thinking, I'm not a Mark, Benioff. I don't have a billion-dollar company, but it doesn't have to only be companies of that size that do this. The point I'm trying to make here for you is that you need to identify this person with these characteristics in your organization and leverage that to help you build your business. So if you're thinking, well, shoot, Mark, they've got sexy company, they've got a lot of cool software. What I'm doing is dull and boring. It's a yawn fest. Folks, there's really nothing new under the sun, right? Just like I said with Mindfire, we have competitors, you have competitors, Salesforce has competitors. What you have to do is you have to figure out a way to take what you're doing and make it exciting and sexy again. And to do that, the first piece of it is to have an attractive character, to have an expert or a guide who becomes the face of your organization in communicating out what it is that you can do for the market. I argue that that's the first component of creating an actual movement. If you look around, and you're going to start to see this pattern everywhere, but if you look around, as an example with Apple, with Tesla, with even with Christianity, with religions, all of them, as you look at it, start to follow this framework. If you think about each of those that I just had on the screen a second ago, I bet you can picture who the expert is for each one of those, right? Who was the guide in each of those situations, right? So if we think about Apple with Steve Jobs, Tesla, Elon Musk, Christianity with Jesus, right? And so each of these movements offered their customers, their audience, a new opportunity. So this charismatic leader, expert, or guide offered their audience a new opportunity, and they created this future for them, this picture of the future that united that tribe of people that they attracted together. So in kind of a sentence format, it could be reduced down to this: the expert, could be you, should be you in many cases, offers their market a new opportunity and then guides them to a result with a future-based cause. Now, I know that's not easy. I'm going to show you how you can do that, but this is how it comes together. So that's the expert. Now let's take a look at what I mean by a new opportunity. You need to have this piece in place, and you need to think about now the new opportunity. Let me show you what I mean by that. So on October 23rd, 2001, can't believe it's almost been 20 years, Steve Jobs, the expert here in the lower left, created a new category: digital music players. He went on stage, he told everybody that we're going to revolutionize the music industry, right? And he kind of, threw stones at the other niches that had a similar kind of product, right? CDs, they only can hold 15 songs. MP3 players, maybe 150. Maybe your hard drive at that time could hold 1,000 songs. But he said, you know what? Those things aren't good enough anymore. That's the old. They don't work anymore. So he did something that every market leader that I'm trying to get you to think about for your organization, he did something that every great market leader has to do. He created a whole new category, a whole new opportunity. He didn't say, hey, now instead of 15 songs, you can hold 20. He didn't say, hey, now instead of 150 songs, you can hold 200. It wasn't just an improvement. It wasn't just a little bit bigger, a little bit faster. It was a whole new category. And when you look around, for a long time, I didn't even realize this about Tesla. If you look at the screen here, here's Elon Musk, right? You could say, well, he's creating cool electric cars. That's his new category, right? But I argue that maybe he's even saying something more lofty than that. The new opportunity that he's providing, if you watch him, is that he's saying we can save planet Earth. And I didn't know that for a long time until I started getting into his material and kind of trying to understand this framework and how it plays out in real life. And when I saw that, I was shocked, first of all, but second, it made me want a Tesla even more. How many of you have a Tesla here? Drop Tesla in the chat if you own one, like Iram does. I know Iram's got a sweet Tesla. But when this kind of new opportunity is presented and it touches somebody like it touched me, saying, hey, that's cool. I didn't realize this was much more than just cars. This is about saving planet Earth. That does something to your market. And so if you're thinking about your opportunity, your new opportunity, whether you're doing direct mail, promotional products, I saw some of you do, like I said, large format, 3D printing, pearls, whatever it is. The key is your goal is not to be thinking about how do you position yourself as an improvement on something that already exists, but how do you replace it with something completely new? Interesting. David's saying, I don't have a Tesla, but I did get to see Elon speak at an event. Very cool. So how do you do this? And I know a lot of you are probably spinning with thoughts right now. How do you do this? You have to understand what your customers really want. You have to really think about, get into their heads, take your customers out, and it's probably hard right now, but maybe virtually on Zoom, talk to them. I know many of you do, but really challenge yourself to think about what is it that they desire most at their core. Make a list of those things. Here's an example from Bennett Graphics. I'm not going to go into this too deeply right now. I'm going to bring them on the screen in a second, but they're an organization who happens to do this really well. They think about what is the end objective that the customer has, and then what's a solution that we can create for that? What's the new opportunity that we can put in front of the customer to meet that objective? And right now, men and women, with where we stand with the pandemic, and again, I don't want to weigh into this politically. I'm just saying that right now, there's a big opportunity to provide solutions to people and to businesses. And you need to think about your market perhaps in a way that you haven't before. Let me show you what I mean. When you're thinking about your new opportunity, let's say, and I knew that many of us would be in printing here. Let's say that the major category name is printing, right? There's printers here with us. Now, maybe you specialize in direct mail, or maybe you specialize in wide format as an example. Well, these are red oceans, right? These are the industries that have a lot of competition in them. But how can you take, for example, if you are in direct mail, how can you take a sub niche, a subcategory, and create something that doesn't exist yet, and crown yourself, your organization, as the king or the queen of that space? Then what you need to do is draw people out of these bloody waters over into your blue sub niche. You're in a blue ocean now. It doesn't exist until you create it. And you're presenting them with something entirely new. I'm going to pause for a second here. This might be an awkward pause. But go over to chat and give me a yes if you're understanding what I'm talking about here. Give me a yes if you're understanding what I'm talking about. I know it's a little bit different. Joanna saying yes. John is saying yes. Chuck saying yes. Scott says yes. Terry says yes. Good. Okay. Yeah, keep those yeses coming in. So to recap where we've been, okay? You need to identify the expert or the guide for your organization. Number two, you need to create that new opportunity. And third, you need to point them to a future-based cause. This is one that trips some people up, so I'm going to spend a little bit more time on this one here momentarily. And if you're wondering, again, Dave, why are you telling us this? What does this have to do with how I'm going to use Mindfire software? How does this have to do with how I'm going to be using LinkedIn to pull in more leads that I need to do now? I argue that you need to work from a foundation of having this understanding about how your organization is positioned in order to be maximally effective at carrying out the strategies and the tactics that we're going to be teaching you through this course, okay? So let's turn the corner to what we mean by future-based cause. Now, for many of us, your customers, for you, for your kids, for your family, for those of us here in this virtual room, it takes somebody doing something that we previously thought was impossible to get us to see a new opportunity. Here's what I mean. Probably since the dawn of man, I actually haven't gone back to verify how far back this is true, but as far as I know, for generations, people thought that it was impossible to run the mile in under 4 minutes, right? They didn't think that the human body was capable of doing that. In fact, they thought that it would explode or something horrible would happen to the body. It was just physically impossible. But then, if you look at the picture here, on May 6, 1954, 6 guys entered a race in Oxford, England, and one of them was named Roger Bannister. And what he did is he crossed the finish line that day in under 4 minutes, 3 minutes, 59 seconds, and then some hundredths of a second. So that was an amazing, amazing occurrence in and of itself. But what is fascinating to me, and the point I'm trying to make here for you right now, is, do you know how long did it take? How many years, how many decades, how many months did it take for that record to be broken again, for that 4-minute mile to again be broken? Remember, it hadn't happened for eons. Then in 1954, on one day, it happened. How long was it until that happened again? Go over there. Drop me your guess. Okay. I want to hear what you have to say. What do we got here? We have somebody saying it was the next month. We have somebody saying it was 6 months. So once this belief had been broken, how long was it until it happened again? 2 months, asks Kevin. 6 months, says Mike. Well, some of you are pretty close. It was 46 days. John Landy, a guy named John Landy, did it in 46 days. So once people saw that this was possible, it created the belief in others that they could do it too. And I looked this up. Since then, it's been like 1,400 something people have broken the 4-minute mile. Okay. Now, for me, I'm not a 4-minute mile type of guy. Okay. So that example, while it resonates, I had to go find something else. And so what I did is I found that as I looked back at my experience at Dreamforce, the Salesforce conference, I saw again that pattern was there. They have something that they call, if you look at the screen here, they call their trailblazers. Okay. These are their customers that they've elevated to this status. These are customers who have broken the 4-minute mile, and they make them a focal point by saying, you too can do this. Look at what these folks have done. These folks were like you, and now look where they are. They broke their 4-minute mile, and you can too. And so my point is when you're creating a future-based cause, your job in marketing, in sales, and your positioning and your messaging should be to guide your audience to see a vision of what's possible for them, to see what it is you can help them do, whether it be through your print, through your marketing, through your promotional products, and help them understand how to get to that higher ground, okay? You want to make that group of customers, those clients, heroes. And by doing that, you're showing the rest of your market, as you're promoting that, as you're talking about that, you're showing them what's possible. And what you're doing is you're helping reward them for following your movement, for progressing through what it is that you can do to help them. This can take many forms. We see some of our clients doing this through awards, through case studies, success stories. But however you do it, you need to make them the focal point, make them a group of people, lavish them with love and attention to make them heroes. In doing so, it's not only good for them, but it's also good for the rest of your client base and your prospects because they want to join that movement. You've made that group of people heroes by painting a picture of the future that others want to join in. So that's the framework. You have this expert, this guide that presents folks with a new opportunity, and then you unite your tribe, your audience behind this future-based cause. And when you do this, you give your clients, your prospects, a new identity. You help them think in a new way, and they start to come to you instead of you chasing after them. Does that make sense? So when you do these things, combined with what you're going to be learning in these next couple of lessons, okay? Because if you're thinking, how the heck does this play into DaVinci? How does this play into Mindfire software, into the marketing that I'm going to be doing next week, into using LinkedIn? When you do this correctly, this is the kind of stuff that happens. I wanted to pull out an example for you of what happens, okay? So this guy's name is Bill Gillespie, great guy if you don't know him. And he's talking about how they started to use social specifically, one of the Opti channels that they started tying into. Initially for them, as you can see here on the screen, social media was an afterthought, okay? He took it on, and what happened is he started to apply many of these techniques that we're talking about here, is that they started to realize that a lot of their traffic was coming from outside of their geographical area. And you can see that he says that about a year after doing this, we started enjoying invitations. People were inviting them to present to some really juicy brands. We were telling a different story than others, apparently. So he's starting, as he writes this to me, he's starting to realize this was doing something for our audience in a way that was touching them, in a way that was causing them to reach out for us. The meetings have been very elegant sales calls. We're presenting to a team. He goes on to say over here, all of this great stuff that's happened, invitations to talk to big brands, big car brand, was put in motion by a LinkedIn post. And I'm going to teach you how to do that. Similar things happen in the gaming, salt substitute, sweeteners, and spirits markets. So what has happened through putting these pieces together, he says, we're confident we've got the content figured out. These brands have no shortage of people in our industry calling on them, meaning lots of competition, just like it's true for you, it's true for me. But they called us, and our conversion rate is fantastic. I've been selling at a high level since 1978. I can tell when a client is hearing something for the first time. Nobody in the world is sharing what we are. That's what happens when you put yourself in that blue ocean, even though others have similar services. That makes sense? So this is just one example of many. I want to give you encouragement that this is something you can do. We have about 6 minutes officially left on the clock here, okay? So I want to pause right now for your questions. And what I'm going to do to elicit those questions is put the framework back on the screen. Here it is again. Don't worry, there's no dumb questions. We've been through this with many other people. We've probably heard all the questions, all the insecurities, all the doubts. Don't be shy. This is a safe place. So what questions come up for you as you think about your organization and yourself through this model that is the foundation for what we're learning over the next 3 or 4 days? Where do you need help? What's confusing? All right. I'm going to go over here to the chat, turn my head this way. So John just said, wow. John, what was the wow for you? Please, I want to know. I really love to hear that. And I'm going to call on a few names here. I'm going to give you a moment to digest. I'm going to drink some water. Don't rush, folks, but I really want to know, where are you troubled here? What's difficult? All right, Mike is saying review the expert guide sentence. Yes, sir. Happy to do that. Let me go back to that. So Mike, as the expert, as the guide in this new space that he's created, is offering his clients and prospects a new opportunity. And he's guiding them to a result with a future-based cause. Okay, that's how I would internalize it if I were you. And I would start to think about, Mike, if that's not you, who is that for your organization? What is the new opportunity? And what is the future-based cause that you rally your tribe, your audience, your market around? All right, for Michael. So find a blue ocean. What does that look like? How do I get there? Okay. John is saying, wow, Bill Gillespie from red ocean to blue ocean. Yes, 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 John. So John was referring back to this here. So Michael, the question of how to find this, to move from red to blue, again, is not one that I can prescribe easily one to many. It may depend on your specific situation. What you kind of have to do is think about niches and sub-niches, broadly speaking. So why don't you tell me, if you can, in the chat, if you're comfortable, what is your niche? And then what are possible sub-niches that don't exist that you can create and dominate? Okay? That's where I would start. Kevin is saying implementation of change internally. Sadly, some don't like change even in these tough economic times. Understood, Kevin. I know change is hard. I understand. If we can encourage or support or help you in any way, please let me know. Jeffrey saying we're in the process of purchasing new web storefront software, and I'm wondering if we should wait to get this marketing going until we get that storefront set up. No, Jeffrey, I would not, simply because it takes some time to plant the seeds that you're going to be learning over these next 3 days. Like, for example, you need to first of all start to get these muscles developed, both in the Mindfire software as well as in, and I'm holding this up because we're going to be studying this, as well as in LinkedIn. And that stuff doesn't happen overnight. There's that old adage, when was the best time to plant a tree? Well, the best time was 10 years ago. The second best time is today. So I don't think you should wait. That's my humble, educated opinion. I think you should jump all in now so that you can get that web to print storefront well positioned to receive traffic, leads, and sales once you figure out which partner you're going with. That's my opinion. David's saying, I need to figure out what our new opportunity is, okay? John is saying, lead gen is an issue, conversion is a challenge. Growth can be a scary place, says Kevin. Yep. Mark is saying, does the expert or guide need to be an actual person in the organization, or could it be the founder and the principles they engendered? You know, most of the time, Mark, at least for the organizations that we work with, these are, I want to say 500 or less employees for the types that I'm talking about right now, it is a person. It is the founder, it's the owner, or it's somebody in the organization who takes on that role. Mark, is that going to be a challenge for you? Are you thinking about, I don't have that person, or I'm not comfortable being that person, or I don't know who that should be? Tell me more about what you're thinking right now. John is saying how to digitally market to a specific audience and the platform they are visible. We're covering that, John. That's coming up. Michael is saying, I don't know that we have a niche. We kind of do it all. I'd like to engage more clients in our web to print program, but that's not necessarily something that's new. So Michael, one tip for you and for the others. Let me go back here. I'll use this example here. There is nothing new under the sun, more or less, okay? If you agree with that precept, just follow me for a second. I'm not suggesting that you have to go from something that exists to something that you're manufacturing that is starting from zilch. I'm talking about a repositioning, a recasting of what you're doing and giving it a new name. So before Steve did this, there weren't digital music players, right? But we had Walkmans. You guys remember Walkmans? We had other things that we could use, right? Cassette players, tape players, hard drives. We had CDs, right? But we didn't have digital music players. And so my encouragement to you would be to think about what is that recasting, that repositioning, that relabeling, that renaming of the category that you can own. Jeffrey saying, thank you. I've felt that way for the most part and appreciate the confirmation. Okay. Joanna saying, I know what my blue ocean is. I have to find the customers who understand, then we'll buy. All right. So Joanna, without knowing enough as I should about your particular market, what you're going to be learning though over the next 3 days allows you to, with that in mind, start to cast hooks. I guess that fits well because we're talking about oceans, right? Here into this blue ocean and attract the right types of people to you by putting out content in a very specific way. That's what you're going to be learning, okay? John is saying differentiation is key, how to stand out from the clutter. Yes. Mike is saying the expert should be able to direct niche to future cause with our product mention. It is an idea or strategy. Okay, Mike, I'm having trouble understanding your question there. The expert should be able to direct niche to future cause with our product mention. It is an idea or strategy. Mike, can you help me understand that question? I just want to make sure I'm getting that right. Okay, folks, what else are you worried about here? What else is giving you pause that you're like, oh, Jude, I need to really think more about that. I gotta dig in and really think more about it. I want to know. I'm going to stay here for another couple minutes. I realize we're at the end of our official time, but like I said, I'm not going to leave until I get everybody taken care of here. So that you know what's happening from here. We're going to be sending you the private LinkedIn group. If you haven't joined already, IRAM will be sending you that link again through email, and you're going to get the access to the classroom, which is everything that you need material-wise. So that's access to the recordings, the PowerPoints, everything like that is going to be centralized in Google Classroom. That'll come to you later today. Tomorrow, what we're going to be doing is talking about, and Joanna, this is going to be helpful for you, how to understand what type of content you should be putting out in front of your market to hook them, to engage them, how to find that kind of content, how to repurpose it if it already exists, how to use it to inform your own content decisions so that you have the highest likelihood of actually engaging your market. That's what we're going to be learning tomorrow. And then following that, we're going to talk about how do you broadcast that out into the world in a way that's going to generate leads and help you drive sales. And we're going to then be looking at how to build a solid foundation on LinkedIn to be able to give you the ability to take advantage of what is really an unprecedented market opportunity on LinkedIn right now. All right, so that's what we're going to be doing. I am going to look over here and see what other questions we have. Joanna is saying, thank you. You're welcome, Joanna. My pleasure. Kevin is saying, ironically, the old saying, more is better, is not necessarily true. It's just more. Some internal leadership will look at growth and change as more work. The key need is to change the opinions and views that change can be successful and growth isn't a scary thing. and that the workload will not be crazy forever. That's my challenge. Kevin, I know that challenge firsthand, man. If we can help you, maybe in this group, that's one of the things that we want to be able to do for you as our community, our tribe. We eat our own dog food. You are our community. We will help you in any way we can. David is saying, so will you email us the Google Classroom? Yes, David. Iram or Jess, I forget who, is going to be sending that. Yes. Oh, Iram just answered you. There we go. Larry is saying, thank you very much. Great concept and material. Larry, I'm really glad you made it here with us today. Thank you for saying that, and I hope to be able to encourage you and give you the insights that you need over the next 3 days. John is saying, how about other social media like Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter? Why LinkedIn specifically? Yeah, very good point. So, John, to answer that question, because we are the Opti-channel kings, if you understand now why I say it that way. Right now on LinkedIn, there is a unique opportunity, and we're going to be talking more about this tomorrow, where there is a lot of attention, a lot of eyeballs, and very little competition for creating content that's going to be looked at by those eyeballs. So what LinkedIn is doing is being very generous right now with the distribution that you can get if you know how. Very generous with the distribution of your content, putting it in front of your target market, your audience, your clients, your customers, your prospects, okay? This has happened over the years on virtually all social platforms. Heck, it's happened everywhere. It happened in email, very little competition. It happened in Google pay-per-click. It happened back in the early days with Friendster, with MySpace. Anybody remember those? With Facebook? Early in those platforms, there's always this mismatch. A lot of eyeballs, but very few people creating quality content. Right now on LinkedIn is that unique opportunity. It's like 10 years ago with Facebook, where the organic reach was so large that you'd have to be asleep to miss it. And that's what I want to wake us all up to, is take advantage of that right now. It won't always be that way. There will be another channel, and we'll guide you to that when the time is right. But right now, it's LinkedIn. Let's see. Larry is saying, you're very welcome, David. I look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Okay. If you have to leave, no problem. Mark is saying, when using LinkedIn, do we want to post it to our company profile or individual salesperson LinkedIn pages? Mark is alluding to some great questions here that we're going to be covering. Mark, you should do both. But where we have seen remarkable results is from your personal page, your own unique profile. And we're going to walk you through that. Okay. David saying, thanks. Look forward to the next session. Yes, I remember MySpace. Yep. I was on MySpace too. Joanna saying, too much pabloom, baby food? I'm not sure what that means. Joanna. John is saying, thank you, David. Awesome. Okay, so there's a private message from Kevin. Perfect. So Kevin gave me a private message. I'll read that later, Kevin. Awesome. All right, men and women, if you have any other questions, anything else you need, you know where to reach us. I'd like to see you there in that LinkedIn group. We engage with you there. Like I said, if you're looking for ideas, for encouragement, for how other people are getting this done, to rub elbows with those people. You need partners, you need support, you need friends, you need employees, you need M&A targets, whatever you need. Let us help you in that group. All right. I'm going to stay on another 30 seconds. If you need to drop off, please do so. Thank you again for being here. I want to say thank you from the Iram and Jess side as well. I know they appreciate you just as much as I do. Thank you all. If you have any other questions here, Larry is saying, does DaVinci translate languages? No, not on its own. Larry, he does not yet. John is saying, thank you, David, Jessica, and Iram. God bless. God bless you too, John. I appreciate that. Chuck is saying, thanks, everyone. Iram said, thank you. Joanna, help me understand what pabloom means. I'm a little socially inept at times in terms of my my lingo. Help me understand that one. I just learned the other day, I hope it's not offensive to anybody, I just learned what a Karen is. I should know because I'm very much study the human psyche, but I just learned that term the other day. I started seeing that pop up everywhere. Joanna saying mushy baby food. Okay. Oh, do you mean the material is that? Let me know if that's what you mean, Joanna. Got it. I think I'm following you now. Okay, got it. Got it. All right. Anybody else? Any other questions, comments? I appreciate you all for being here today. Wayne, TJ, Michael, Mark, Larry, John, Jeffrey, Jackie, David, Chuck, thank you. If you have any other questions, I'll wait another minute. I'll wait 1 minute and see if anything else comes in. Iram or Jess, you have anything you want to paste in for everybody? Otherwise, I'm sure you'll follow up through email. And I will see everybody again here tomorrow, same time, same place, same Zoom information. All of that's going to be the same. And we will rock and roll tomorrow with the next part of this training, and we're going to be picking up speed. Okay, so get ready tomorrow. We are going to move pretty quickly, but the goal is to deliver as much value for you as possible. Larry, we'll follow up with you on your perpetual license question. So Iram or Jess, I don't know if that falls to one of you, but if you can make sure we follow up with Larry on that, that would be fantastic. All right, men and women, thank you so much for your time today. Stay tuned for the materials. I'll see you in the LinkedIn group, and I'll see you again tomorrow. Thanks, everybody. Bye-bye.